Yo, 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 what is going on, COD Familia? It is your boy BN, aka Mr. Kingdom Builder, and we have what is going to be the start of just an amazing KVK PvP experience. We are here in SSS1-10. This is comprised of Kingdoms 31, 33, 39, and 40, and Zone 3 passes have just opened, I believe, in Kingdoms 27 through 90 now. Now, not all of them have opened, because, for example, in one of the KVK groups for the one I'm in with 65, there's, at least as of recording, still is about 5 hours, a little more than that, but I want to say that within the next 24 hours, if not probably decently less than that, all of the Zone 3 passes for KVK groups, so 16 groups between Kingdoms 27 through 90, will be opening for their Zone 3 passes. Now, this is, again, arguably the top two KVK groups that have at least been doing the most amount of PvP. This is kind of a soft estimate based on stats and the amount of kingdoms that we've viewed already, kind of looking at their personal merits and alliance combined merits. There has just been a ton, and this is basically going to be an all-out Zone 3 fight. Let me just kind of show you where passes have been captured so far. Now, everything with the exception of, I think, of the 2 level 4 passes, but also because they are currently unopened, right? So we just have to kind of state that. But all 6 of the level 3 passes have been captured thus far. Now, this is the matchup for SSS1-10. We have here, let me scoot this over here so I can kind of look and then let you guys know. So we have Agoru, or assuming Lorcan, going up against Agoru and Hollandale. Right, so that's the matchup right now. It's essentially kind of a 2v1, but specifically with the numbers themselves, it's BXS, so you have these 2 alliances here, 3 alliances over here that have captured these. So it's BXS, 066, BXR, 069, BXM, those are the 5 alliances in Lorcan, and then you have a Goru, which is 4 alliances. This is comprised of Jedi, NCDX, Jedi with a 3, and then J-02. When we go over to Hollandale, we have, I believe, 4 alliances here. So we got underscore DX underscore, we got hyphen DX hyphen, we got Jedi. Excuse me, and I should say that the Jedi in Agoru is with an L, not an I believe. So it's Jedel, but it's Jedi specifically. And then we have Jedi, and then we have Squiggly DX Squiggly in Hollandale, which is just funny to say that. So we have 2 big fights that are about to explode. I don't know. Oh, wow. Okay, never mind. These ones actually already just started. Look at that. So we're just messing around too much. So this is the fight right now. We might have to try lowering. You know what? I'm just going to hang out. I'm not going to touch anything here. So let's just move this out of the way. I think we might be okay for now. So they have engaged. So Jedi, NCDX. Oh gosh, who else do we have? Jedel, you can see there, because it's a little bit of an eye. And I think we had J02 going up right now against, or excuse me, Jedi go. I'll just say Agoru versus Lorcan. Let's say that for now, because otherwise it's going to get slightly confusing. But they're going ham and bananas right now on this bridge fight. This is sick and intense. Oh my gosh, at the same time, they are just YOLOing. No! There's our guy Hector El Grande coming out. Usually we notice our good friend Hector when there's just a lot that's going on the map. I probably should have tried to lower down my quality just a bit. Let's see if maybe we can skadoosh this. I'm at 1.1. Let's go to 1. See if that might make things a little bit easier for us. So sometimes it takes a minute to load, but we're going to try lowering. I know this has kind of been 50-50 when we've been lowering our render quality, but we'll see if it ends up planning out here. Looks like a second El Grande, third El Grande. But I think the way that we remove this, from what I can recall last time, I think is we just go to the city and we go back in, or we might have to restart. But we'll save that for last. So wow. So we got, so we got Jedel, NCDX, and Co, who are pushing right now. Looks like BXM and the other alliances, they're coming from that southeastern gate there on the Lorcan side. So they ended up just going in ham. Now, this is, I want to point out, right, again, we'll start noticing some of the lag decreasing here in a little bit, right, as we just have some more of the units that are going to end up getting removed off the map. But one of the things I want to point out, this is something that we often talk about when you're fighting bridge fights, is or fighting bridge battles, we should say, is it's important that you don't play it complacently. Right? One of the things that we often talk about is committing all the way past the bridge, where you're not necessarily... So doing the poke game is fine. If you're going to kind of poke and have a little bit of your kind of appetizer tease fest with doing some of your ranged attacks here and there, across the bridge, even across the river, outside or off to the side of the bridge, that is fine. But if you're going to engage, you do not want to do a full engagement, in my opinion, across the bridge from one another. You want to commit. And that's typically committing by going all the way in and then just kind of brawling it out and hoping for the best. Or you commit and you peel off so you can at least attempt to try and create some separation and space from your opponents. This would then allow for you to not necessarily bunch or to kind of hive or cluster as much, as we often talk about, right? The idea is that you want to reduce the amount of AoE damage that's being done on you in order to then put as much AoE damage on your opponents, right? This is a combination of doing things like focus firing into clusters where you have condensed legions from your opponents, as much as it is focus firing the outlier units, right? And then that can also be from the main force that's going in. That can be a combination from your flying units and your cav units as well. They're kind of going off and picking off some of those branches. So again, there's definitely quite a few ways to do it here. Wow. So you have General NCDX. They are pushing right now onto the BXM flag territory, or we should just say their territory. Let's zoom out a little bit here so we can kind of show you what we're talking about. So they've only built out a little bit so far, right? But you can just see, gosh, it is just crazy bananas right now here, boys and girls, we should say. Got to be gender neutral with how we do things. Over here in SSS1-10, right outside of their captured gates from the Lorcan side. Wow. Wow, let's see. Man, I know they got to be ravaging up here. Yeah, so see, they're heading up this way too. They're just picking off everyone right now. So you still got the BXR. Again, they're going for that right now. Look at this, doing a little bit of focus firing here. You can see here from the NCDX team, right, having what looks like to be maybe 8, 9, 10 people kind of doing some focus fire there on Potato, or that might have been Cross. So I think it might have been BX focusing this almost... Wet Bread, they're almost Wet Bread, great name. But look at this, again, moving in unison. I kind of like this right now from NCDX, at least with those units there. Looks like they're kind of moving in a dedicated direction, getting some focus firing there on that almost Wet Bread. I actually kind of like this so far. We'll have to see if they end up keeping that up. We got _DX_ coming into as well. Massive Royal Punishment, getting some damage out there. Looks like almost 9k, some 7k, -8, -3k on that artifact usage, that Thunder Shadow being thrown down there from the Jetty player. Let's see what we have going on south here. Little cluster here, Time Bomb getting thrown down. Probably going to get the max damage there for -3. It does, popping off 3, 5, and it looks like about 7k damage there for the negative purple. We got a little Frager Syndrian in the mix, unless that's an accident because it's blowing up the PFP profile pick. Oh, this is what we're talking about right here. Really fantastic heads-up play happening right now from Jedi and NCDX, hitting massive multiple AoE damage here on this BXR cluster. This is what I'm talking about, right? Right in the moment. Thankfully, we were able to get a great example. Look at this. Multiple, now I believe this is on a flag, but the point being here is they're maximizing the amount of damage that they're outputting, so they're not spending more time than they need, or not utilizing the opportunities for artifact usages that they should be, right? So this was actually a really great play or instance that we're seeing where you're having multiple players focusing AoE damage on top of potentially saving some artifact usages for big AoE damage. So that way you're able to kill those units faster, more efficiently, and then you get to move on, right? So again, that was to me a good example and a good play there from that team, or we should say from that group. Let's see now here what we got. We see BXR Frost down here. Piper, Ice Coffee, doing a little bit of work. NCDX and Jetto just cleaning up. _DX_ cleaning up too. We might have to go check the other group because so far this has been pretty awesome for what we've been seeing. Okay, so moving down here, you got a couple more BXR people here. I think they've almost pushed them out. I don't know how deep. Where are we going right now? Oh, wow. They've already pushed down to the... Wow, Thunder Rock being summoned right now from... It looks like BXR. Can't see who's Beastmaster right now on that. We'll see here in a sec. We got Beastmaster Satan. Okay, well, that's one way to do it. Hopefully you can summon the fires. All right. So I think a lot of the units have already been cleared up. Oh, never mind. So we do still have some here with BXM and 069. Pretty close right now to getting pushed. BXM, hopefully that Thunder Rock's going to be able to do a little bit of damage. Still within its AoE range. Jedi, this is actually pretty good. So what I would say here, a little bit too heavy of a cluster, right? This is kind of what we talk about briefly, where you find moments where, again, you're just going a little bit too deep. Darzana here, though, looks like that might have been a Shadow Games that he played out there from the BXN unit, or maybe Darzana, but there was some big negative purple damage being thrown down. This is the thing, right? Avoiding the clusters, looking for those opportunities to spread out so you can have good positioning is always going to be really important. And this is just another one of those good examples, right? Especially with the Thunder Rock. You don't want to take unnecessary AoE damage, even if you feel like you're still going to be able to win this, right? When you're in a situation like you are now, where you're essentially fighting across the map, it is really important. Yeah. With what?
A heart for my teacher.
A heart for your teacher, sure. I think we know how to do a heart. Let's see. Hang on, we gotta hang on here and get some action.
We need to do it for the pencil.
The pencil.
No, we need for the pencil.
Why do I have to do it with the pencil?
You have to draw it first.
I have to draw it?
Yeah, you have to make a heart first. You put it do this and do this, and you do. You just make a upside and an upside. And you just make it straight down.
Let's do it. I have to think about how I'm gonna do this heart. How do I do a heart?
A heart.
Can you do it? Let me see. I'm trying to think about how I write this. Yeah, okay, there we go. There we go with the curve. Ah, okay, I can do that. I can do this. I can do this. Okay, hang on. We're going to scroll down here a little bit so we can still see a little more action. All right, here we go. Let's...
A game.
No.
A game.
We're commentating right now.
They don't supposed to cut it.
I have to cut it to make the heart.
Mia. Yeah. Do you have to cut the paper? Yeah, you have to cut the paper.
I got it. We're going to do it. Hang on, killer.
Got it.
Yeah.
Well, Mia, that's coming right now.
I think we're doing it.
That's coming right now.
I got it. I got it. See? Bam! Big hearts. There you go. You're welcome. I'm a winner. I know. Killed it. Okay. Yes. Did I need some assistance from my 7-year-old? I did. Am I ashamed? Not at all. Okay. Here we go. Let's continue and see what other kind of action we got going. Like I said, we might end up going over to the other battlefield here in a minute. So we'll see. BXM throwing down the bear now. Again, Jedi NCDX, great numbers right now when you're just talking about overall activity. Bear in mind as well, this is just the start, so it's not as though it's all going to be over right all of a sudden. I'm sure there will still be continued fighting, right? But keeping in mind, this is just after reset. But still, always good, especially when you have enough time that you're able to prepare and kind of ready yourself for, where you're thinking about kind of the build-up all the way to Zone 3 opening. No, that's hers. Give it back to her, please. Where you have to kind of think about, right, they have all this time ahead where they're waiting for Zone 3 to open, right? And this is the thing, right? You're always gonna have some variance where you kind of have to think about, well, how many people, where do people live in your alliance? How many people you would get online in a specific period of time? And, right, when are their active windows, right? So all those things are really going to factor in. But to me, it almost feels like it'd be cool if they tried to time out Zone 3 openings or kind of big openings for weekends. And I don't know how you guys feel about that, but for me, when I think about it, it almost sounds great if they were to say, hey, well, we're going to time out this zone, because I think 8 UTC or reset is actually not that bad, because it's about 8 p.m. Eastern time, 5 p.m. Pacific. So the time actually is pretty favorable when you think about it, just from the kind of U.S. perspective, right, based on the time zones. But for me, I almost kind of feel like, hey, why not time out Zone 2 and Zone 3 openings for weekends, like a Friday, right? I understand that might be, you might have to do a little more tinkering with it when it comes to the specific day, if you have to kind of do any adapting or finagling with the Augerstone chapters. But, I don't know, just a thought. I'd love to know what you guys think on that one. But I personally just think it probably would be better, where you're able to kind of... Because I think the thing about fighting on a weekend is that you're able to kind of establish your territory right across that couple-day period. And so then from there, you have a higher chance of kind of all the multiple alliances pushing out. So it's not as though you're kind of fighting an uphill battle or kind of being at somewhat maybe of a disadvantage right during a weekday. Just my thought. All right. So I think we're pretty good here. Girls, if we're going to do that, you can go out.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. So, from there, I think now it's pretty decided where we have this ending up. So, it looks like they're getting pushed. I don't see any other units out here, with the exception of them just cleaning up the bear. Oh, never mind. We actually have some. So, we got some BXM units here on the south. Okay, looks like probably just doing some replenishing, some troop replenishments there. So let's see what they're going to do. I mean, again, they still, I think, have an opportunity. It doesn't seem as though they're down. Oh, but I see. Oh, wow. So they're still fighting kind of out here, too, as well. Oh, wow. So now the numbers are actually looking. So, okay. In this case, based on how things are looking, I would probably argue that it's in their best interest to regroup, right? With how things are looking right now on the field, yes, do they still have numbers? They do. But remember, when you're fighting far away from your base and you're fighting closer to your enemy's territory where their replenishment rates or reinforcement rates are faster because you're fighting closer to their cities than you are, there's going to be certain times where you have to make those heads-up plays and say, okay, hey, look, it's actually going to be in our best interest now to retreat and just to kind of reset up our staging area, right? So I don't know where that specifically is going to be. Oh, wow. So it looks like BXS ended up coming down there from up top. Are they just going to reform? So you have some guys here. I think they were reforming at this ridge. Okay. And this could be okay, right? If they want to say, hey, we're just going to reform at the ridge. That's a lot of dead. If you see that dead track, intense, right? Okay, let's go look. I want to see how the fight up north is going, or if there's one that has even happened yet. I think the fight was, let's see. Okay, I think it was here. I don't know what's happening, but let's just check in. Oh, no. So nothing's happened yet. It looks like they're just mass building, right? So this is where you got DX. They just finished. Let's see where they are on this flag. So you got 36 minutes until that bad boy's done. And then I think we had one over here on the ridge, right? I thought we had a group here, so we did. So you got a BXS group that's here on the ridge, and I thought we had an 066 group here in the corner. So we do. So you can kind of see what's cool here about this, right, is you're kind of fighting on this double choke point. So you have a choke here on top of the ramp that's on the northern side here, right, of Northwest Old Forerunners. And then on the south side, you have this choke, and then you have a group that's gathering right here and pushing out. So even though both of these alliances are still heavy pushing, and you can see here, right, BXS probably needs to put a few more people on there. You end up seeing a little bit double the time that they were able to get there. I think they're upgrading too as well, is what it looks like. So they're going right in. Oh, interesting. I wonder what they're doing. It looks like, is this glitched? Okay. Or maybe it's just weird read for me. Well, they're going, and then we got 066, they're building theirs. They got about 57 minutes on that one. So yeah, it looks like the only fighting that's happening here is on the south side. However, this is the interesting part, right? Is you saw BXS was able to send some reinforcements along with them. Why? Because they pushed up far enough to control the choke. The only other way that these alliances could, at least the northern one, the only other way that these two alliances can assist is they would basically have to do this, right? They'd have to go all the way south here past the Iron Hills, across the bridge that's right here, and then they have to go all the way here, right, is what they'd have to do, and come across this river choke, which you do see some of them doing, right? You can see some units here, right, where they're kind of coming up this way to help assist and reinforce. So, and then that would allow for them essentially to go up this way. They go up the ramp, down the ramp, and now they're able to go over here and essentially assist from this area, right? So you have units that are coming up this valley on one front, and then the others that are coming up this way, right? All kind of assisting, but they're all coming through, right, this choke point area. You have one here, and then essentially your other that's down here at the river. So that could have been an opportunity if they wanted to push down that far. However, that's a little bit difficult for the Lorcan forces to have to run that far this early, right? I actually like what BXS and 066 are doing, where they're pushing far enough up so they can kind of almost force a kind of delayed choke or a delayed set of engagements where you have the primary choke here, and then you have the secondary choke here northwest or northeast, and then this one southwest of this plateau. So it essentially kind of forces Jedi and Squiggly DX Squiggly to have to keep pushing eastward, flagging, which is buying them some time, unless they're going to force an engagement, which, bear in mind, from what we saw, it looks like they have enough to do that, right? So it doesn't feel as though they're incredibly strapped by any means. But however, 069 BXM able to regain their position, and now they're starting to push some more units out, regaining the flag. BXM, oh, let me see here. Ooh, NCTX Tipsy Can doing some greatness right now. This is what we're talking about. Now, this would be a little bit better, I think, if there was multiple legions. One of the things we often talk about, oh, wow, that was big, negative 15k damage there on that artifact skill. But this is the thing, right? Don't push in too deep, so to speak, right? You don't want to fight. And that was a good heads-up play there, right? Tipsy doing a good job. Probably pushed a little bit too far in the moment, but look at that. Was able to do a lot of damage. Didn't take that much. One of the things I often talk about with counterattack damage that I'm always not the happiest to, just when I see it happening, I just wish they would remove counterattack damage, right? And you've heard me talk about this, so I always briefly mention it sometimes in some of our war videos. But for me, if they ended up removing this, to the point of where, like, for example, if Tipsy moved over here and he started attacking Dr. Bear, Tipsy would be hitting the unit without Dr. Bear returning fire, right? Or any counterattack damage. Look at this. So Tipsy's attacking God King Law, but God King Law is still doing damage to him via counterattack. What I mean is that there's no counterattack damage being done at all, right? You're just taking straight damage to the point of where it forces you as a player to be active online, paying attention to what's happening, and only going out and fighting when you can actually go out and fight, right? Or going out and building when you can only go out and build, which is, never mind, I probably should take that back. That doesn't make too much sense because they're kind of doing that already with the intended purpose. But the idea being that essentially you just need to be paying attention, right? So to the point of where, like, if he was attacking Dr. Bearbean, Dr. Bearbean wouldn't be doing any counterattack damage, and the only way that Dr. Bearbean would be attacking the unit that's attacking him is if he clicked on his legion and then selected his legion to attack the unit or the legion that's attacking him. That's the only way it would do any damage. To me, that's really where we should be going, in that direction. To me, counterattack damage is just like a soft handicap, right? And I just don't think that's where the future, the potential of raising the ceiling and the quality of skill in PvP is at right now. But it is where it could be, right? That's important to know. All right, let's see what we got here. Are we settling? What's happening now? Oh, wow. So are they pushing out now? Interesting. So I'm curious what's happening here. So you got some players that are pushing out. Excuse me. Also bearing in mind, right, that remember the run here for them is a lot farther, right? So you can have these alliances that are pushing out from the gate to the ramp. That's not that far of a distance. But if you're talking about having to come from here, right, and from here, well, first off, from here, having to go all the way down here and around, because you have to look over the bridges. So they got to come here, all the way up here. That's farther than if you're going from here across the bridge there, right? Maybe about double the distance. But then you have to think about supporting cast. If they're having to run here, they have to run all the way down here, across the bridge, all the way up here, right? That's their path. That's pretty far. So, again, that's why I was saying, really kind of thinking about it, you could almost argue that their forces could have backed off the gate a little bit sooner, just so that way they'd be able to have a little bit of a bigger force on the next engagement, right? So you fall back because you're already winning, you're doing a lot of damage, but then the moment that you notice that the numbers look like they're starting to get closer to even, that's when you start pulling back, or even after you've done a big push in and you've killed a lot of units, then you go ahead and push back out, especially if you feel like the amount of replenishment isn't coming that fast or in that much. You push back and fall back to your staging area. That's really what we're talking about here. Because at this point, right, Jedi could get pushed off by BXM. And I think this is the right play, in my opinion, from BXM and 069, is making that push to where they can kind of set up a forward staging area like what they're doing now, and they're just going to keep clustering this. Really, the only way that I think JO2, Gentle, and NCDX probably could do something here is if they started picking them off before as the numbers were smaller and just maybe playing good tactical game plays for just kind of getting good ratio trades and kind of out-strategizing. At this point, it might be hard unless they're going to get as much replenishment from their team as you're seeing happening right now. And so it almost looks like they're going to get pushed off the top of the ramp probably sooner than later. Ooh. Little one's going cray-cray here. What are we at, 25 minutes? Okay, we might have to call it here in a moment. So, let me see. Hang on one sec. Let's see if we can grab the little one. Oh, what's this? Yeah? Oopsies. Let me see. I got you. Let me see. Boom. Okay, yep. Oopsies. Water? Yeah, drink it, go. No water? Okay. How about phones? Phones? No? What is it? Are you just really hungry? Here, do you want to watch this? What do I got here for you? What's that? Yeah. What's that? She's smiling. Wow. Yeah. There you go. You just gotta hit them with little ugly dolls if you guys know what I'm talking about. Okay. So, I probably don't have that much longer, but I want to see if we can at least see maybe another fight on the northern side here, if this is going to pop off. Probably not, though. I'd be shocked because they're probably going to slow play it all the way. You're still seeing some people going, moon couldn't be any brighter. Yeah. Yeah, man, yeah, usually she's going crazy. Big Ugly Dolls fan. She loves her Encanto and other stuff too as well. Essentially anything that is singing. I haven't got her into the High School Musical phase yet, but hopefully soon. Okay, let's see what we got here. All right. Let's head over. Are they already getting pushed off this ramp? I'd be shocked. Yeah, they are. Let's see here. Yeah, we're going to see it's... Yeah, this doesn't look like it's going to be that close-ish currently. Yeah, they're getting... Which, again, is the right play when you think about BXM 069 pushing. Okay. All right. Looks like it's going to be time for my ladies... Or, sorry, my little ladies' milk, I should say. But, yeah, I mean, again, like I was saying, this is the right play here for BXM and 069, right? Pushing Jeddle, Jedi... and Co. off of this ramp and then trying to establish a little bit of control themselves. Now, once this happens, it will be important to see, obviously, how they're going to be able to hold, right? Because thus far, you could still make the argument that they, right, from those Ogoru forces and some of the Hollandale troops were able to make a little bit more of an impact on the BXM 069 group over there in the southeastern gate for Lorcan, more so than they've been able to do for them right now. I mean, obviously, yeah, it's not really favoring them in the moment, right? You can kind of see that they're getting pushed off. But the important bit here, and this is the thing, right? Don't just run in to go and support, right? This is where you need to fall back and have a secondary staging area, whether it's going to be at the other end of the ramp. That would be one place to do it. Or you kind of figure out what you need to do. Because this is really important. You have to think about this. If they're not going to be able to hold this area, right, then they're going to have to kind of decide what they need to do, because you have a choke point here, right? They could go up. Oh, no, I don't think they can go that way. Yeah, so at least it doesn't look like they'll make it through there. So essentially you have one choke, right, that they could hold. They could hang out here and basically here and spread themselves, right? And they could block some of the Lorcan, assuming some of the Hollandale troops from coming in to assist on the Ogoru side, right? So really, if you think about it, if BXM 069 and Co are able to keep pushing out, it can kind of establish some of that plateau control. It can buy them more time to keep building faster and a little more quickly. So really, I think if you want to make kind of a hard argument, I think Battle of the Plateau here, which is kind of a cool name, but I think Battle of the Plateau is really going to be where it's at. It's really going to come down to what are they able to do, how well are they going to be able to hold or not, at least until they get a little bit closer. And then on top of that, we see what the northern troops are going to be able to do as they edge a little bit closer. Because like we said, this is a lot when you look at all these troops here, right, from the Jedi group, and looks like Squiggly DX Squiggly going up against, right, the troops here from BXS. I mean, again, the numbers, if you combine DXS and 066, right, the numbers are probably close. I guess now they're looking a little bit more even too as well. But this will be the next big deciding fight. I don't think it's obviously going to probably start anytime soon. You're probably going to need to maybe get 2 or 3 more flags in before we potentially see anything, unless they kind of want to just make a YOLO play. But right now, man, Battle of the Plateau is where it's at. And now it's kind of countering and going in favor of the BXM. What's this? Oh. Of the BXM and 066 group, right? And like we said, right, they're doing what they should have done, right? You were able to engage and essentially gather numbers, and then you decided to push with those numbers, seeing that you had a numbers advantage, right, where ratios were kind of going more in your favor. You end up pushing up the ramp, and what happens? You get rewarded, right? And so again, right, them keeping the push up here, and this is the thing. Sometimes you have to recognize, right, if you have a smaller number of troops, but you have better strategy than your opponents, I'm okay with you potentially fighting it. However, if you do not have the numbers, right, and you're not in good position, and I want to point something out here. This to me is not good position from NCDX and Gentle. What I mean by that is look at the cluster. Look at how condensed you are right now. On top of that, you're fighting in a straight line, right? You're not spreading out and making good use of your positioning and, more importantly, your spacing to where you're going to be able to take less AoE damage than you're going to be able to inflict on your opponents, right? So to me, this is where they should have either pushed out a little bit more to spread out, or you fight at the bottom of the ramp where you really have more ability to spread and space yourselves out on the field, so that way you can better use angles, you can better do your focus firing, and just kind of split up some of that damage, almost kind of soaking or tanking it, right, because of your spread. These are just important things to think about, right, when you're kind of fighting straight up, especially in these cases, or kind of up a ramp, right, or across a bridge, right, or on a bridge, as an example. Just sometimes not the best positions to be in. Now, of course, if you have the numbers, then you can still make that argument, right, for continuing and going on with. What are you doing, kiddo? You are over here killing it right now. There we go. Let's move those. Yeah. Did you want some? Want some agua? No? That was really good. Okay. Where are we at? A little over 33 minutes plus. I think I'm just waiting for the milk to get ready right now. So we'll go a little bit longer here just to see what happens. Because, and this is interesting, I like DX's play here from BXS, right? It's kind of like YOLOing and going in all the way, trying to do what we can only imagine is kind of playing that disruption tactic. And there we go, man. Jetto getting a little bit of resurgence here. And maybe we're going to end up seeing a... Oh, wow. So we're actually kind of seeing a counter engagement now from their team. And now they're the ones who are now pushing BXM and 069, having them a little bit on the ropes. We're seeing a lot of their troops going away now. Hopefully this will be something that they'll be able to capitalize on and then maybe kind of regroup themselves at the top of the ramp on the northeastern side. Let's just see. Are they... Oh, so BXM 069 aren't really gathering. So this is an opportunity that they have to essentially do a counter push and kind of retake that plateau control. This could be pretty good for them. They're definitely chasing hard on this one. We're moving. Now we're going to end up seeing a little bit more of a push. What are you doing with my controller, girl? Lots of replenishment coming in too, man. This is cool. I mean, you guys know me, man. First off, I love seeing as much PvP as we can, but I love even more seeing the back and forth and the sustained fights. That always has been the most exciting for me. Very nice, very nice. Ooh, gosh, that sword of massive damage. Negative 16k perp on that artifact skill. That was lovely. Time bomb being thrown down. Dark Zana spreading out. Ooh, almost was able to. But again, when you're retreating, it's kind of difficult. You can't really take kind of a sharp angle or hit a 90-degree readjustment pathing, right? So you can kind of limit the amount of damage. But at least he was able to only have it be 2 people that got hit instead of 3 from that time bomb. All right, guys. We are going to close it out here. I'm already coming up a little more than 35 minutes. I hope you guys enjoyed this. I know we had a little bit of back and forth. That's kind of what happens sometimes when you got the kiddos here in the evening. But thankfully, the lady did not chew my head off and allowed for me to get a video in. So I always have to give a big shout out to her lovely self. That's going to do it for us. I'm going to try and get you guys as much action as we can from these Zone 3 passes opening, which is going to be bananas in a lot of these groups. As always, until next time, I will catch you guys later.